We had a little printer issue.
Good evening. This is the April 14th City Council meeting, and if you could please rise, Mr. Arnold is going to lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Rossmarin, please have the roll call.
Mr. Arnold.
Here.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Here.
Ms. Gentry.
Here.
Mr. Koss.
Here.
Mr. Shamir.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Zuber. Here. Mayor Spetzel.
Here.
Law Director Ebert.
Here.
Finance Director Crossie.
Here.
Public Works Director Liskovic.
Here.
Thank you. We need to have the approval of the February 18th, 2025 special council meeting. Are there any changes or additions? Seeing none, through general consent, they will remain as published. Any correspondence from anyone? Mrs. Rossmarin?
I don't have any to report. Thank you.
Anyone else correspondence? Yes, Mr. Shamir.
I've had a number of correspondence regarding Brunswick Drive, the start of construction, completion of construction, and patchwork that needs to go into effect in that road. I mean, it's effectively the road you have to maneuver like you would do on a graded road. So if we can look at potentially the construction company, I know that they've got one project and they're moving from that project into another. You would, if there's a potential for them to mobilize additional crews to do that work, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, so, and I think I had in correspondence that we're trying to get a meeting scheduled with the contractor to discuss the project and scheduling and such. They've already been made aware of their responsibility now that they're 100% back and staffed up for the season to make sure that they're maintaining those. So between our forces and then our inspection forces out there, we'll keep an eye on it, make sure it stays up to code.
Okay,
Mr. Shamir?
I've got several, if that's
for it.
okay.
Go
The
for
other is with respect to States on the Tavern Green. The construction that is going on in the property just behind and to the east of that property is within a offsetted wetland area. However, there are areas that sit outside of permitted construction zones, which are covered with trees, and the residents are worried that some of those trees may be cut down through construction phase or clearing phase. And can we have the city coordinate and ensure that that area is, the trees that are supposed to remain after and during construction?
Could you repeat the location again?
It is the States on Tavern Green, and it is. I will send you directions to that location.
Okay.
Any further correspondence anybody wants to share? Ms. Gentry?
So I had received a message from a constituent that is had in the past. I'm not sure if he actually was an owner's rep or knew somebody very close to him that was an owner's rep, and he sent a summary of what the owner's rep does and their responsibilities. I did share that with the council. I also received feedback from the county auditor regarding some questions people had had about the levy.
Would you go on and explain
So
that?
the questions that I had were, the communication that went out was, this is not an increase tax for you. And so I wanted clarification because it's based on your property values, which just increased. So how is it not an increase if that's the case? So what we, between the county auditor and Ms. Crossie, we were able to understand that the $23 versus the $29, it was the adjustment for the property value. So is that correct? Okay. So I'm not sure if that makes, so before it was $29 per $100,000, and now it's gone down to 23 per 100,000. So your net is very close to within cents to is.
So if we could clarify, when you speak to about the $29 per $100,000, that was 5 years ago. We went out before for the passage of it. And because there's additional properties now, it's been able to be reduced to $23 per $100,000. So that the amount that's brought in is $1,100,000. Ms. Crossy, can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, so it is a 5 mil levy, but that effective millage rate actually decreases over the years. So it actually has gone from the last time this levy was renewed, this is a renewal levy, the last time it was renewed, the effective millage rate was 0.95. And now, when we received the certificate from the county, when we, applied for this levy renewal, it has gone down to 0.65. And that is why you see that decrease from $29 per 100,000 valuation of your home down to $23 per 100,000. So even if there was an increase due to the recent valuation increases, when you work through that number, you end up being very close to your amount from 5 years ago. Now, and we did mention new construction. Also, if there was a substantial increase to your home, if you had like extensive renovations, that could create a small increase. But again, when we're talking from going from 0.95 down to 0.65 on that valuation, it would not be that much of an increase. But if your home went up simply because of the recent valuations, you would not see that much of an increase.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this? Yes, Mr. Shamir?
The last communication was with respect to Hanford and the construction activities that is going on. Residents were wondering about a later potential start time for construction activities. The start time is currently, as per city ordinance, at 7 a.m., but the comment came across that there are residents that are effectively being disturbed at 7 a.m. When the construction starts on the Pulte property. Thanks.
I'd like to go back to the other discussion to see if we could finish it. Thank you, Mr. Shamir. Is there any further discussion on the renewal tax levy among council members? Okay. And then any further discussion on Mr. Shamir's point requesting a later start date on construction? Mr. Mayor, do you want to respond to that?
We'll take a look at it, certainly, and I know Pulte's here. We can have a discussion at some point about that start time.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on further. Yes.
I had one more piece of
Yes, Ms.
communication from NOPEC.
Okay.
They have posted their rate increases or their rates for both electric and gas. So that's posted on their site. And I think we might have posted that also on the community site.
Thank you. Any further correspondence from any council members? Seeing none, then we're going to move on in our reports. First is going to be the mayor's report.
Thank you. I just want to let everybody know Arbor Day is Friday, April 25th. There will be a tree planting event at Walker Road Park. Everybody's invited to attend. I know Councilwoman Fenderbosch, this is near and dear to her heart, so she may have more to say about that one. I also wanted to say that hydrant flushing began today in the Northeast. Fire department will send messages to those in the area as well as posting it on their social media. If you, after a flushing, if you might want to run your water, make sure it runs clear before you do any laundry or anything of that nature. I also want to announce the retirement of Police Chief Vince Molnar as of May 11th. Chief Molnar has served in a very dedicated and professional manner for the last 30 years to the residents of Avon Lake. We'll be wishing him well. I also want to announce that Caleb Robinson, Lieutenant Caleb Robinson, is going to be replacing Chief Molnar, and there'll be more on that to come in the near future. We all know that spring has sprung, at least today. I don't know, it might snow tomorrow, but I would encourage everybody to check out the spring, summer recreational offerings through our recreational department. And that can be located at avonlakeoh.myrec.com. That's avonlakeoh.myrec.com. And you'll see a lot of offerings on there for activities, not only in the spring, but through the summertime. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Mayor? Okay, we'll go on to the council president's report. The next CCM is going to be April the 28th. It's going to be a very busy night because we're going to have double meetings. We're going to also have a council meeting that follows the CCM. Are there any questions about that particular part? If not, I'm going to go on to another topic. So this is voting season, right? And the Board of Elections has on their website when they're open, you can walk in. My husband and I voted. We were in and out of there in about 4 minutes. From April 14th through the 18th, they're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. April 21st to the 25th, they're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. April 28th, 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 p.m. And the 29th, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. April 30th to May 2nd, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. May 3rd, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and May 4th, 1 to 5 p.m. You walk in, you can vote, you can just walk right back out. And the advantage to this, I think you might have all seen something in the newspaper, is that you don't have to go through the lengthy paper application to see who you are and where you live. It's much easier going directly to the Board of Elections. That came up from the Secretary of State. I'm sure that Mr. Cos is going to be speaking to the report packet that we received from Public Health in Action. Mr. Cos, do you receive a copy of this pamphlet? It's page 3 you may want to share with the residents.
I am not prepared to speak on that tonight.
Okay, so
Thank
next
you.
time we can speak about it. Very good. And the last thing that I have is that Lorain County has changed their emergency portal. So if you want to know about emergencies in the county, whether it's having to do with street closures or there's a weather, if you text 24639 and type in Lorain CO for Lorain County, it'll sign you up to this new portal. Or you can go on to the Emergency Management Emergency Alerting page, which would be at www.lorainecounty.gov/777/emergency-alert-information. So it's much easier just to text 24639 Lorain CO. Okay, and that's all that I have from the council report. Now we're going to go on to the law director.
No report seen, Madam President.
Thank you. Any questions for the law director? The finance director.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like to take a moment just to remind everyone about issue 4, which is the renewal of the property tax levy for general fund. It is a 5 mil levy, and I'm sorry, 1.5 mil levy for a renewal of 5 years, which is what I meant to say. And the residents have thankfully supported this levy for 30 years. So it does represent about 4.5% of general fund costs and will bring in about $1.1 million into general fund. Now, general fund does support police and fire safety forces, streets maintenance, parks and recreation. So it is a very visible use of taxpayer dollars and well needed at this time. And as we discussed earlier, based on current 24-25 property valuations, it will cost a homeowner $23 per $100,000 valuation of your home. And voting is on May 6th, so we appreciate support.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Cross.
I think it's important, Mrs. Crossy, to, $23 per year.
Thank
Per
you.
year.
Yes.
$23
year.
per year.
Yes.
Yes.
$100,000. Well put. Any other comments on this particular topic? Seeing none, then we're going to move on. Thank you very much. We're going to move on now to the Public Works Director.
Thank you. I just got a couple updates for this evening. I think I'll just kind of lead off with the roads program. Both contractors are back actively working on both projects. D.L. Smith started today on Vineyard. They anticipate about 4 weeks, weather permitting, for completion of that project. And then Dennis Concrete actually started about a week and a half ago over on Stony Brook, looking to finish that up. And then, as we mentioned earlier, moving into Brunswick, at least as of their current schedule. Looking to meet with them and discuss scheduling the project, hopefully this week sometime still. Next up is Alps Project Phase 1. RMH Concrete has completed their duties related to the Phase 1 construction. Public Works crews were out there today working on some of the grading, backfilling, and getting it ready for seed and stuff like that. We'll continue to work through that area to get that all finalized and get turf growing and stuff like that. Next up, actually the mayor covered Arbor Day, so again, that's next Friday, but it's a good event to celebrate trees if you're interested in it. And then lastly, Columbia Gas, they are working on wrapping up work on electric tomorrow, and then they're moving into Archdale Redwood area for the rest of the week. That's all I have this evening.
Any questions for Mr. Liskovic? Yes, Mr. Shamir.
As my previous comments and our meetings, one of the things that I'd like to see is a look-ahead schedule of road projects and road repairs and maintenance activities for the next 6 months, just allowing us to understand where repairs are going to take place, at what duration, at what period, so that we can answer constituents as those questions come up. Thank you.
Mr. Liskovic?
Yep, nope, we'll be working on that.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we're going to move on then. The standing committees. The first one is Ms. Gentry with Buildings and Utilities.
So we're continuing to work on the ordinance and get updates on the projects that the city has going on, so NOPEC, and also working on getting updates, the stormwater connection. Our next meeting is this week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And I forgot to mention in my earlier discussion, I wanted to shout out to Mr. Liskovic. One of my residents, her family lives on Hunter, which is one of the last unpaved roads, and over the winter, the potholes were so bad, the mail carriers were threatening to stop delivering mail. So as soon as I mentioned it to Mr. Liskovic, he and his crew resurfaced the road, and they are very, very happy. So I just wanted to mention that, and also thank you for working on the Cough Reservation South Loop. It floods in the one corner, and so he's also working with Metro Parks to resolve that issue. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. And you're going to be also working on the demolition ordinance,
Yes,
finalizing it up at this point?
finalizing it up, yep.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Gentry? Seeing none, then we will go on to Mr. Shamir with Communications, Environmental, and Recreational Programming.
So we've got 3 items. The first is going to be the Alps Phase 2 contract award, which is going to be on an emergency basis this evening. That is to ensure that the completion is done as per schedule, and that's going to be up on an emergency basis this evening. The next item is going to be the environmental EAB meeting. Date change from the first Wednesday of the month to the first Tuesday of the month at the Lake House at 6:30 p.m. And the other item is the OpenGov modules that I've been discussing with Communication and Technology Department and the Commission on how to best utilize and to understand what modules we have readily available within our system. Thank you.
Mr. Shamir, you said that they moved 2 to Tuesday instead of Thursday?
To Thursday.
Oh,
Did I
so
say
you
Tuesday?
You said it opposite.
Thursday.
Okay,
I
so
do
it's the
apologize.
first Thursday of the month. Okay, because I was looking at my schedule and going, Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Shamir? Okay, and Mr. Shamir, do you want to talk a little about your scholarship? That's really exciting.
Well, I think we'll discuss that at the next meeting once we've got everything hashed out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Mr. Shamir? All right, then we're going to move on to Mr. Arnold with Economic Development.
Thank you. We had an Economic Development Committee meeting last Monday, April 7th. There were several items that were discussed. The first one was the Kleinfelder Resilience and Recovery Study. ALER also came in here and did a presentation, gave us an updated demolition process, and those are both, the presentation is available as well. Verdanus also came in and kind of along with ALER, they talked about the different concerns or questions in regarding the air quality testing that was done, just to answer any questions. And then the last item that's on tonight's agenda is the result of the Job Growth Incentive Award for 2024. Every year we go out and give checks back to the companies that are here in Avon Lake if their payroll is more than it was the previous year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Arnold? Yes, Mr. Shamir.
Just as a follow-up to what Mr. Arnold said, the economic resiliency study draft report should be completed within the end of this month, early next month, and it should be available for council for review. So that is something to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zuber, you're also on that committee. Is there anything that you want to add?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We're going to move on then to Finance, Mr. Zuber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no formal report this evening. We do have a meeting next Monday, the 21st, in this room at 5 o'clock. The only update that I have is income tax collections through April are up 10% from last year. That's they're up $576,000 over last year. As you know, last year was a record year. This time last year, we were only up 1% from the prior year. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. And the other thing I want to state is that we did budget 5% less in income tax collection when we budgeted at the beginning of the year. That's probably going to change in the update that we're going to talk about at the meeting on Monday.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Zuber? All right, seeing none, we're going to go on to Mr. Smith with Human Resources.
Thank you, Madam President. The Human Resources Committee met this afternoon or this evening before tonight's meeting at 6 o'clock. We discussed Avon Lake Regional Water job descriptions that we're going to be bringing before council, that we're going to bring for a first reading on the next regular meeting of council and present for passage at the following meeting. We also discussed the municipal court appointments of the clerk of court and the court bailiff. They're going to be switching jobs, so we're going to be putting legislation together for those that's going to come before the council at our next meeting. We're waiting for some information on the pay for those two positions from the court. There is a job description that's going to go for 3 readings for the deputy clerk. We haven't had one. We haven't had a change since that was advised since the 1990s. So we're going to be doing that and bringing that to council for 3 readings as well. On the agenda tonight, I'll be removing the item regarding, at the appropriate time, the item regarding the step increase for the administrative assistant Heather Lamb. Also on there is we're going to accept the resignation of Cody Harris as an engineering tech aide 1. Additionally, we will be having we did a motion regarding a public works laborer to try and get that person in as soon as possible. We're waiting to see if they accept the job that's been offered to them. So there's a good chance that that will be on the agenda at our next regularly scheduled council meeting as well. Other things that are going around is pursuant to the Human Resources Director. The EAP vendor is up for renewal. That program has been going very well. Where the city actually takes great advantage of that program in the discussions from the Human Resources Director. The leadership training has been also very well received program that the administrators are going through. We're also they also met with the community. There was a meeting of the Community Relations Board. I'll report on that in the special committee portion of this. And she is continuing to collect data for the salary range ordinance. And she's going to be providing us with information from the various cities that she's collected data from. And if anyone on council has any other cities that they think should be included in this salary range, although it seems like it's pretty well coming in at certain ranges, feel free to give her a call, or me, or the mayor, and we'll make sure that those get included. Other than that, I think that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you.
anyone
Any
has any
questions for Mr.
questions.
Smith? Any further questions? Mr. Smith, was there anything else that you wanted to say? No. You're good? Okay, thank you. Then we're going to move along to Mr. Cos with Public Safety and Health.
Thank you, Madam President. The Public Safety and Health Committee meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled. We had only 2 items on that agenda. One was a donation from the American Legion, and the second was a discussion on electronic bikes, e-bikes. Both of those items I plan to bring to the next collective committee meeting for discussion there. I do have one item that's going to be requiring a suspension of the rules tonight, and that is the traffic impact study, which is ordinance number 25-78. This has been much talked about. I will discuss it more after the suspension of the rules, providing that passes. But the reason for the suspension is in order for this study to get started and have the desired effect with the number of vehicles that will be counted and the amount of traffic activity that we would want to see on this study, it needs to start as soon as possible. Capture everybody before summer vacations hit and people are out of school and such. So it's important to pass this on the first reading, and that's the reason for the suspension. And I will talk more about that and the other items that I have on the agenda at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Cos at this point? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on then to public service, and I have 7 items that are on the agenda. 4 of the 7 items do have suspension of the rule, which I will go into in just a moment. The next meeting of the Public Service Committee is going to be May the 7th at 5:30 in these chambers. The items that are on the agenda for tonight that have suspension of the rule from public service are the following, and I'll give you the reasons why. Ordinance number 25-74, that's yours, Mr. Shamir. Number 25-75. It's a resolution authorizing, I made another mistake. Let's go down further. 25-79. It's an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a snow plow and ice package for the Public Works Department and declaring an emergency. And I know a couple weeks ago we talked about the equipment, about the new truck, and then the equipment going with it. Well, the third party, the cooperative services that we would be going through is a different company than what we've used in the past, and the law department needed to do some more processing with them. That's why it was delayed. That's why it's on tonight. The reason that it is suspension of the rule is that, just like with all the other equipment, we need to get it in the line from being created to be manufactured, or we could lose out to the other cities and wait. It's still going to be 6 to 8 months before we receive it, but we need to get into that line. So that's why that one's suspension of the rule. The next one that's suspension of the rule is 2580. And last time we met for council, 2570, we authorized the city to go forward and purchase the International 607 chassis cab. Right after we did that, because our meetings are on Monday, Mr. Liskovic received a call from the manufacturer, and the international tariff fee was then applied to that particular purchase item to increase the price by $3,900. So we're bringing it back so that we can authorize the total purchase. So that's why that one's going to be suspension of the rule, so we can get it into the line for manufacturing, because they held it up even though we passed it. The next one for suspension of the rule from Public Service is 25-81, and that's an ordinance authorizing the purchase of another International 607 chassis cab. This time we are going to include the $3,900. And I'm going to have a question for Mr. Liskovic. The federal government put a 90-day hold on the tariffs. Should we continue to keep the $3,900 there? Do we have to have it since there's a 90-day hold?
Yes, International is requiring it because projected delivery date is 4 to 6 months out.
Okay.
So that we'll pay upon delivery, not ahead of schedule.
Got it. Okay. That answers the question that I have. The next one, and the last one for emergency, is a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contract. It's awarded this year, but it's actually for next year, for next winter's use. And we need to get into the bidding of ODOT. They just notified us last week, and everything has to be done at the end of this month. And that's the way that's the way the state government is working. So that's why that one is emergency passage. Are there any questions on any of these that I went over, my colleagues? Thank you. We've talked about them in the Public Service Committee and also the CCM. All right, the next was Planning Commission, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Tonight we have 2 items on the agenda. One is for the rezoning of an area on the southeast corner of Walker Road by Pulte Homes. That will just be at first reading, and then there will be a public hearing on that on April 28th. And the second one is a vacation of Alameda Avenue for the Utilities Department over off of Miller Road, and that also will be set up for 3 readings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Smith on either of these items? Okay, we'll move along then to Mr. Mayor with the Zoning Board.
The next meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals will be April 23rd. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Mayor on the Zoning Board of Appeals? Okay. Mr. Mayor, do you have a full zoning board, or do you have an open position there?
We are full.
Thank you. I did receive, I should have mentioned this with correspondence, I did receive an inquiry through correspondence. Thank you. Mr. Shamir, Parks and Rec Commission, do you have a report, sir?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Any other special committees? I will report on the Tree Commission. The next meeting is going to be May the 14th, and it's at 6 p.m., and everyone is invited over at the old firehouse. It has been mentioned several times today. Arbor Day is the 25th, that we're going to be celebrating it here in Avon Lake at Walker Road Park. And when you drive in, if you go down to the turnaround, that's where the trees are going to be planted. There will be 3 trees from the garden club that they've donated. There's shag bark hickories. Hickories were originally there, so we're returning them. And then Bay Village is going to be joining us by donating 3 northern catalpa trees. Plus, we're going to be handing out free catalpa tree seeds if you'd like to have them at your own home. This day, school is not in session, so we're inviting the students to come. I know there's going to be some Girl Scouts there, and there's going to be other students that will be there. There will be people from Bay Village and from Avon Lake. It's going to be quite a celebration for Arbor Day. So I would be remiss if I didn't also mention that the Tree Commission is donating 75 tree saplings to the Avon Lake Garden Club's plant sale at the Goddard School. And that will be on Saturday, May 10th. You always remember it's the Saturday before Mother's Day. Come and pick up some plants, and you can also have a free tree. It is on Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon, and they typically sell out, so come quick and pick up what you'd like. They're there, rain or shine. Are there any questions? Yes, sir?
No question, no question.
Mr. Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Yes, sir, Mr. Shamir.
Yes, as far as ad hoc committee, on the Walker Road ad hoc committee, we're planning to have a meeting sometimes in September 2025. So that would be the last meeting of the year. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Smith, you have another committee you'd like to
Yeah,
talk
I have
about?
two of them, actually.
Very good.
Civil Service Commission met at 4 o'clock this afternoon. They certified the results of Caleb Robinson as the police chief, which the mayor discussed earlier. They are going to be doing some entry-level police exams that are going to be scheduled. They also have a labor exam for the Public Works Department that's scheduled for June 18th. We discussed the tech aide vacancy, which we already reported on at HR, and the commission also approved the job descriptions, the 3 job descriptions for the Avon Lake Regional Water that were discussed in HR as well.
Thank you, sir. And you have another committee that you'd like to report on?
Yes, the Community Relations Board met on April 8th at 5 p.m. in the first floor conference room, discussed the employee handbook, ADA, FMLA, employee leave, and other objectives of the board pursuant to the revised code and pursuant to Chapter 280. They also had some discussion about Chapter 280 as it stands as a third member that is a non-resident business representative that is to be appointed by the mayor, and they asked me to bring that to the attention. We're not going to meet again until September sometime, and that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I do have a question for Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor, you will be then advertising for that position?
I just found out about this recently, so
Okay.
I'm sure we will, once it's
Okay.
approved. Yep.
Okay, is there somebody here? We have a pretty good audience here in TV land that might be interested. Thank you. Any further comments on any special committees? Seeing none, we're going to go on to the audience participation. If you could come forward and give us your name and the city that you're from. And this particular time of comment is about the items that are on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody that would like to come forward to speak on any topic that's on the agenda tonight? Good evening.
So I was at a committee meeting, I believe it was Parks and Recs, no, it might have been CERC. The woman did the presentation in regards to the bidding that's going out tonight, 2574, I believe it is. And at that meeting, I made my usual request of saying, I'd like to have the committee meetings televised as well. Because you don't have to go through the process of getting public records request, and you gotta wait till it's filled, and all you get is an audio, and that there would be an opportunity then for any citizen to watch it at any time during the day when they had time. Not just come to the meeting at that particular time, but would give you an opportunity to do that. I was also told at that meeting that it wouldn't be of an issue because at this meeting, she would do the presentation again. She's not here. She's not doing the presentation. How can the citizens trust what's told to them from the council? Because it changes all the time. Another example of where I'm told one thing and something else is done. I don't understand how that continually happens. It's like Mr. Cost now, he's not having his meeting tomorrow, but he's moving those along without a committee vote into the CCM. Now, I don't believe he can do that. Another example. So my last minute will be used for the ordinance of the rezoning 2583, southeast section of 83 in Walker. Has there ever been a traffic study done there? Was there one done there 10 years ago? This is the same area that we fight with you about speed limit because of a business district variance. We're still waiting for the day in court. And so instead, now you want to jam in another 75 units because these people want to maximize their profits? I don't understand that. Again, I don't understand why there's going to be so much congestion there. It's already the busiest intersection in the city. Mr. Cost has made that abundantly clear. That's why we're putting a camera up, which I think is a total waste of money. You have 4 more seconds. Got to figure it out.
Anybody else like to come up?
Gerald Phillips, Avon Lake. I want to talk about ordinance 2578. Talks about it in Exhibit A, and it also says shall not exceed 195,350. I'm not sure what the 195,350 pertains to because the maximum amount is 202,350. When we were here at last Monday's meeting, Council President asked all council people to send emails to her to find out what you want to add as far as the additional items. Based on this ordinance, I can't tell what was added, if anything. So it seems like it's a little bit open-ended. If you look at the proposal, it talks about a standard contract from Trans System. There's no standard contract attached to it, so we don't know what the terms, conditions are. I would think before you pass an ordinance, you'd have the standard contract from them. Also, there's a subcontract, Smart Services. If you read their proposal, you know, they're not gonna do traffic counts all on the same day. They're gonna do different days. So they're gonna spread it over a time period. And the way I read it is that they're just gonna do traffic counts once for all the intersections, one day. Now, we hear that it's an emergency. You know, one day you're gonna take traffic counts. You got the whole month of May, all right? We didn't even see the proposal at the last council meeting. It was given a few days before. The residents didn't see it. They didn't have time to digest it and make comments about what should be in it or not be in it. Also, it's not including anything east of Brennan's Court. There's a new subdivision that has 64 homes. 64 homes that's south of Walker. That's not going to be counted. And you're not going to count going into Bay Village or coming into Bay Village. And it was also made comments that you're picking up Long Point, but you're not picking up Windward or Anchors. If you're going to do a traffic comprehensive study for the southeast quadrant, do it right. You're missing those major points. And how about the undeveloped land? You better include the horse farm, and you better include the southeast corner. And if you don't, you're not doing it right. You know, how many times I mentioned, measure twice, cut once. Talk about the zoning. You know, Walker and 83, the most traffic accident prone intersection according to the police chief. You need a traffic study.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to come forward on any topic that's on the agenda?
Hello, Vince Canonico, Avon Lake. I would just like to speak briefly to ordinance 2578. Again, I'm just asking that you consider transparency with respect to how the data from the study will be used. A lot of time has been spent on what data will be collected and what data will not be collected, and I think that's appropriate. I'm glad you're doing that. But you haven't given us any sense of how you're going to use that data, specifically with respect to the proposed gate at Hanford Boulevard. You know, just for the sake of transparency, tell the public, look, if the traffic threshold reaches this amount based on the estimates, then we're going to, probably install a gate. If it falls below this amount, then we probably won't. I mean, give us that in advance before the study is done, so the public has some confidence that this data was actually used to make the decision, not to justify a decision that you've already made. So I would request that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to come up with any topic that's on tonight's agenda? Welcome to come up. Thank you.
Ramsey Finlater, Avon Lake, 2583 again. Talking about the traffic there. If you put multifamily units on both sides of the street without widening that street, anybody that votes for that must have a helicopter, because you can't go up that street now, much less later. I don't know how that's gonna work. What kind of multifamily? How many units in there? I don't have any idea, but I just don't see how you would put a lot of units on both sides of that street and expect to get up 83 safely. You probably won't. So I would hope we would not do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else with any topic? Come on up.
Ken Yankel, Avon Lake. I'm basically going to echo Vince's comments. There's a lot of concern about once we get the data as far as what the volume is going to be going in and out of Hanford Boulevard once the cut-through is established. We need to know, what level of increase will trigger putting the gate in place. That is a major concern. I did write up a couple pages here, which basically list the concerns we have of both the traffic study and also your approach to the data, and also the fact that the people that live, east of Lear and south Walker, those people are going to see a drastic change in their environment if that thoroughfare type of cut-through is put in place. Traffic is going to increase immensely. I bet with people from Bay Village and from West Winds and going and coming, from home to the shopping centers to all the different points of destinations. It's going to increase drastically. It's going to cause a safety issue for their kids at play. It's going to the whole environment of the community is going to change. It's going to be a lot noisier. Not to mention just the problems of getting in and out of the neighborhoods, which is the other issue. So if you would please just try to take it to heart and try to put yourself as if you were living in one of those homes on one of those streets. Would you think that was a good idea? And I don't think we should be blindly following a plan, that is totally outdated and totally flawed relative to what exists today, as far as in the community today, as far as of traffic patterns and shopping centers and density and everything else. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak? Are there others that would like to come forward? Any topic that's on tonight? Don't be shy. Okay, we're going to move on. Oh, come on up.
Sorry.
Come on up.
A little late.
It's all right.
Ann Maloney, 32038 Hanford Boulevard. And I'm going to echo the same thing that Vince and Ken did, except I have one additional kind of request for insight into what kind of assumptions go into modeling when you don't have an open thoroughfare currently. Because as I understand it, that kind of quadrant has up to 900 plus homes, and how you could establish, you know, what traffic patterns you have when there's no existing through street at the moment. And I would think that the access to 90 needs to be weighted a bit higher, because that's obviously the goal for everybody. So it's just unclear how you have that predictive model when you don't have great data, because it's not an existing traffic pattern. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully tonight many of your questions will be answered. Any further input? Seeing none, then we're going to move along then. Okay, now we're at the point in our agenda that's for motions. At this point in time, are there any motions that are going to be added or deleted? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I would move to delete the motion regarding the step increase for recreation administrative assistant.
So this is a motion to add. Mrs. Rossmarin?
No,
Wait, I'm sorry.
to remove.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a motion to delete.
Right, to remove, yeah.
To delete the motion that's already on the agenda. Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion to delete has passed. Any other motions that are going to be added or deleted? Seeing none, then we will go right into our agenda. Mr. Smith?
Thank you. I move that we accept the resignation of Engineering Technical Aid 1 Cody Harris effective April 11th, 2025.
In discussion?
We discussed this in HR as well as in my HR report. He's moving on to the city of Westlake.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Okay, now we're up to the legislation. These will be the second readings. And the very first one, Mrs. Rossmarin, please read by title only, ordinance number 25-67.
An ordinance adopting the Avon Lake Urban Forest Management Plan.
Okay, this is the second reading. We're going to be going 3 readings on this. This is something that came out of the Tree Commission and also the Public Service Department, and it is something that's been recommended by by ODNR, and it recommends that municipalities adopt and implement an urban forest management plan to effectively manage trees and the land on which they grow. This urban forest management plan is a strategic and long-term investment in Avon Lake's tree canopy through efficient and effective tree care, strengthening tree planting to maintain species diversity in the public tree population, equitable preservation, improving the character and aesthetics of neighborhoods, and the quality of life. And to get into the details of it, there's a mission statement: to maximize the economic, environmental, and social benefits of a sustainable urban forest for the residents of Avon Lake. And there's 3 goals. Goal 1 is to maintain the health and vigor of all trees in the urban forest. Goal 2, plant the largest suitable tree at maturity for the site selected. Goal 3, achieve a fully stocked urban forest. There are 4 objectives. 1, remove or prune all dead and hazardous trees each year. 2, evaluate each tree every 2 years after planting, the first 10 years, and every 5 years for the balance of the tree's life, and prune as needed. 3, plant a diverse population of tree species. People call that biodiversity. 1 tree for each removal, replacement on publicly owned land, and 1 to 50 of the vacant sites based on the initial inventory to replant, and this is to be determined. Number 4, educate the community decision makers, residents, elected officials, hired employees, volunteers on the value and need for a sustainable urban forest. There's actions, there's specifications, there's implementation. It's quite involved. There's 11 pages of it. I don't think that you want me to read all of it, but this is something that the city has never had before, and we are preparing the city for the hiring of an urban forester, and this is one of the steps. Any questions? Okay, this is the second reading. Thank you. We'll move on now to Resolution 2568. Mrs. Rossman, read by title only.
A resolution adopting the Avon Lake Forest Management Strategic Plan.
Thank you. Now, this one has to do with the tree commission itself. And again, the city of Avon Lake has not ever put together a management strategic plan for the tree commission, which ODNR has recommended. So this is a second reading, and it'll go 3 readings, so there will be an adoption of it. And there's a vision statement. The vision statement is Avon Lake is a model forest city, community with healthy, safe, and appropriate community trees. The mission statement, foster a community that is committed to sustainable management of the urban forest. There are 3 goals. Promote the health and safety of all trees in the urban forest on public lands. Number 2, achieve a fully stocked, healthy, and resilient urban forest. Number 3, educate Avon Lake citizens on the importance of maintaining and improving the urban forest. There are objectives, there's an annual review, there's action steps, there's implementation steps that will be taken by the tree commission. Are there any questions on this particular piece that we have before us? Okay, seeing none, we will go on now to the next one. The next one is ordinance number 25-69. Mrs. Rossman, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance chapter 1070.02 municipal park rules.
Thank you. This too came out of the Tree Commission and then Public Service Committee. And it has to do with changing 1070.02 municipal park rules. And what it is going to take us down to is actually section number 1F, natural resources and other park objects. In the past, it only spoke of a director. We're now identifying the Public Works Director and the Urban Forest Director and their responsibilities. Then it goes down to an added new paragraph, which I shall read. Residents of the city are eligible to participate in a program to celebrate or memorialize through Avon Lake Plant a Tree, Grow a Legacy program. Monetary contributions collected by the Avon Lake Plant a Tree, Grow a Legacy program shall be utilized by the urban forester or public works director for uses outlined in the master street tree plan, Avon Lake management plan. Are there any questions on this from my colleagues? Okay, seeing none, this too will go to 3 readings. And now we're going to move along to first reading. Mrs. Ross-Marin, read by title only, ordinance number 25-74.
An ordinance awarding a contract for the construction of Avon Lake Play Space, Alps, Phase 2 to R.J. Patton and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Shamir.
Before I start, I would like to make a comment that this project was presented at the last CCM. So the first 30 minutes of the last CCM includes the project and how we got to where we are. The other thing is the reason, I do apologize, the reason for this being an emergency passage is effectively to utilize the weather conditions that we have and to complete the project as per schedule. So based on that, I'm going to move on. So I move for the suspension of rule for 3 readings of ordinance number 25-74, an ordinance awarding a contract for the construction of Avon Lake Play Space, Alps, Phase 2, and the amount of $1,758,200.37 to R.J. Patton and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. And Mrs. Ross-Marin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shabir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Mr. Shamir. I move the passage.
I move for passage of ordinance number 25-74.
Any further discussion, sir?
Nothing from my side.
Anybody else? Any further discussion?
Mr.
Yes,
Koss.
Mr. Koss.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I appreciate Mr. Shamir's explanation because I briefly thought, didn't we get an entire presentation on this last week? for the public to see on camera. And I'm looking through my CCM packet, and there's all the playground equipment with a thorough explanation. So I thank Mr. Shamir for reminding the public that this was thoroughly discussed last week, as we mentioned.
Thank you. And not only was it thoroughly discussed, if I could continue, but she was very, very good at answering questions by the people that were here during the CCM, and showed what the expansion is and how all age groups and all abilities will be able to utilize that space. Okay, I think we're at the point where we need to have a motion. We'd have it, so we need to, yes, Mr. Mayor?
The ordinance reflects R.J. Patton. It's actually Platten with an L.
P-L-A-T-T-E-N.
Correct.
Okay, we will make that correction. Thank you, sharp eyes. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We now need to have Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Thank you, it has passed. Okay, resolution number 25-75, Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
A resolution authorizing the finance director to disperse the Jobs Growth Incentive Program awards for the tax year 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Yes, this is the first reading. This will go 2 readings. As you have heard, City Council has enacted a Jobs Growth Incentive Program to promote the creation of jobs and the economic development of the city. And the Community Development Director has tabulated a list of award recipients based on the income tax revenues of these businesses in Avon Lake for the tax year 2024. The Finance Director, if this should pass, is then authorized to issue these checks as has been determined by the Community Development Director, and I'm going to be going through this in just a moment. This is declared to be an emergency measure, the emergency being the necessity of allowing the Community Development Director to distribute the awards to further the economic growth of the city to our businesses, thus is for the public peace, health, and safety of the city. What's interesting for the public, I'm sure, is how does this work? When a business comes in, they have income taxes. If they have grown their income taxes in 1 year, they receive 35% of those income taxes back. If they grow it 2 years, consecutive 2 years, they receive 45% of their income tax back. If they're highly successful and they grow their income taxes 3 years in a row, then they receive 55% of their income tax back. And for the 4th year and every year after that, in growth, they would be receiving 65% of the award with a cap. The cap is $50,000. And at the end of the day, you can see that I've got 6 pages here of businesses that will be receiving checks for the total amount of $194,157.97. Are there any questions up here about this from my colleagues? Yes, Mr. Arnold. Comment.
I just wanted to clarify that it's that percentage is of the income tax revenue difference between the 1 year and the previous, between the current year and the previous year. So we're not giving 55% back of the total payroll tax, just to clarify that.
Well put, right. It was in my head, it wasn't coming out of my mouth. Thank you so much. So it's the change between 1 year and another. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Okay, this is the second reading. This will go on to another reading. Okay, we're going to move on now along to resolution number 25-76. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
A resolution in support of House Bill 3, School Bus Safety Act.
Mr. Koss.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the first reading of 3 for this resolution to support House Bill 3, the School Bus Safety Act. And in the resolution itself, it has a lot of the highlights of House Bill 3, which is being considered. All of these things obviously deal with school bus safety and school safety as well too, in a larger sense. This is an item that came out of the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting after it was brought to our attention by Mr. Rudy Breglia. And one thing that I do want to mention, and I'm going to ask that this be added for the second reading of this resolution, Mrs. Rossmarin, is that we ask, that we put an additional bullet point in the whereas, where it talks about creating the fund, the $25 million fund that school districts can apply for funding if they so choose to have seatbelts installed on their buses. I think that's an important component of it. And also to clarify that this House bill does not mandate seatbelts on school buses, but this helps to fund it if a school district decides to go that route. So I'll get that information to you, Mrs. Rossmarin, if you don't already have it.
Thank you. And as Ms. Gentry pointed out at the CCM, and you pointed it out again today, David, this is not a mandate. It is simply giving an opportunity. Any further discussion, Mr. Zuber?
Yeah, I would just request that this resolution be read in entirety on the third reading.
Good point.
I would support that.
Mr. Cos, very good. Any further discussion on this topic? Okay, moving right along. We're going to go to ordinance number 25-77. Mrs. Rossmarin, please read by title only.
An ordinance amending the emergency transport service fees in codified ordinance section 208.01 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Cos.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, this is the first reading of 3 of this ordinance number. This was an item, again, that was brought to the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting, and it was passed unanimously. This was brought by Fire Chief Jeremy Betza, who did a review of the fees for the EMS transfers. Our transfer fees have not been adjusted in 5 years, and compared to other municipalities within our region, they've fallen behind. This brings the fees up to the similar levels of what our regular surrounding communities have. There was a document that was submitted that had the other municipalities and their rates on it, so you could compare those. If you recall, I think that was at the committee meeting, and I think we also had it at the CCM as well too. There was an issue with the one document not having a date on it, and Mrs. Rossmarin, were you able to get that document from Fire Chief Betza per the request of the Council President?
Yes,
Okay.
I do have that.
So that issue has been satisfied, so
Yes.
we're good to go with that date on that document. Perfect. Again, this will be 3 readings on this.
Right. And Mr. Cos, will you clarify for the public who's going to be charged this? Because if you are a resident in Avon Lake, you have insurance, or you are a guest, it's handled a little bit differently.
Yeah, if you're a resident in Avon Lake and your insurance will cover the cost, this does not affect them.
Right.
Yes.
And if you are billed, you're not going to be paying it. Even if, let's say, insurance doesn't pay it, you won't need to pay it. This is for the visitors coming in.
That's correct.
Okay. Any further
Thank you.
questions? Discussion? Okay, then we'll move right along. Okay, Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only, 25-78.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a personal services agreement with Trans Systems Corporation for a traffic study and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Cos.
I move to suspend the council rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossmarin.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, it has passed. Mr. Cos.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 2578.
In discussion?
Okay, there's a lot of information I want to get through. So I ask for, Madam President, a little consideration, just so I can
Take
go
your
through a little
time.
bit of this.
Take your time.
We've discussed this at a number of public meetings going forward, and this is the culmination of a lot of hours and a lot of discussion. A couple things I want to touch on real fast before I kind of get into this. In the actual ordinance itself, it does note that the cost shall not exceed $195,350. The number $195,350 was the amount of the base services with all of the add-ons included. That was a 202 number, I believe it was. I have to look at it again. But the $195,350 is reflective of the authorized, what I had been calling the a la carte numbers, minus number 7, which was the supplemental traffic analysis of $7,000, which basically would have reopened the discussion on Liberty Rose Drive in contrast to the legislation that was passed back in 2021. Council members were pretty much unanimous that they did not want to revisit that issue, and that number 7 was removed. And that's why it is not the 202,350, but the 195,350, which is the minus the 7,000 that would have been. Okay, so looking through the document here, we've got 2 different parts of this, and I will cover because it's a large amount of money that we're doing, and this is a very comprehensive study. So there's a lot of information here on this. I'll start up that we originally budgeted $150,000 for this study. So obviously the 195,350 is over, and we're going to deal with that. And maybe the finance director will have comments on that at the appropriate time. But that's what we had budgeted, and this is what we have going forward. The basic services of 134,550. And I'm going to read off just the titles of what that covers and give a little bit of input where it's necessary. The 134,550 covers traffic data collection at 17 intersections. It's a very thorough study. 17 intersections are going to be covered. And the thing with these 17 intersections is a lot of the areas, especially from the far east side, those cars will be counted when they reach these intersections. So we're not losing those numbers. If they're coming off the far east side, Bradley Road or whatever, and enter this quadrant area, they're going to be covered at one of these intersections as they proceed through. So there are 17 intersections through there. I'm not going to read all of those. However, I am going to note that specifically Walker Road and Bridgeside Drive and Long Point Drive are included. Lear Road and Liberty Rose Drive, and Lear Road and Hanford Boulevard / Teasel Court. And those 3 are going to have longer durations of counts, and those will be a 12-hour period for those counts. Those are the critical ones that we've kind of identified through this process, and they will be discussed at that point. Or they will be expanded, the hours there. Trip generation is the next part of the base summaries. And this task is intended to account for potential traffic activity generated by the build-out of the subdivisions connecting directly or indirectly to Lear Road, Walker Road, and Krebs Road west of Lear Road within the Avon Lake city limits. Next, we have the traffic reassignment capacity analysis, 4 scenarios, 17 intersections. Again, this is a very comprehensive part. 4 scenarios, 17 intersections, and I'm going to read these specific scenarios here, which I think are, again, important to this entire study. Scenario with both Liberty Rose Drive and Hanford Boulevard open. Scenario with both Liberty Rose Drive and Hanford Boulevard closed. Scenario with Liberty Drive open and Hanford Boulevard closed. Scenario with Liberty Drive closed and Hanford Boulevard open. And also, there's the language in there about if authorized tasks, but during my explanation, that will not be one of the authorized tasks, is reviewing that Liberty Rose issue from 2021. And the city will provide signal timing information for existing signalized intersections to assist with that. Next is the signal warrant analysis. Additional considerations are also a part of this, and that deals mainly with safety services access and school bus routing. Summary of findings and report preparation is a part of this base services, and then the meeting and coordination and project administration fee. And we've already done some of the issues on that, and I want to mention this point specifically so it's on the record. We've had meeting number 1 already. Meeting number 2 date to be determined. Progress meeting with the city following the completion of traffic data collection in spring of 2025 and preliminary traffic capacity analysis. I had a very good conversation with Mr. Shamir late last week, and we discussed this part in particular where we talked about how is the data going to be interpreted. The raw numbers are going to come in, but there needs to be a discussion on how that data is going to be interpreted. And it's at that meeting that we will discuss how that is interpreted to get the best idea of how this is going to play out. So I wanted to make sure that I got that on the record. Next, we have the authorized tasks that are included, and there were 7 of them. And I reached out, at the last meeting, I asked for council members to reach out to me, or I reached out to them, and I had conversations, or they sent it to me electronically. So either by phone or electronically, they sent me which of the 7 they're in favor of, and which of the 7 they're not in favor of. And what I was trying to do is just try to get a consensus of what I think would move this piece of legislation forward. I can say that not everybody was for all of them, and there were some differences of opinion that I was hearing from people on this. But in looking at it, there was enough consensus on all of them, whether that was 4 or 5 or everybody on them, that I decided to include 6 out of the 7 additional tasks in there. Again, the 7th being the Liberty Rose one of $7,000, which changed the total overall price. The 7 authorized tasks that we are going to be adding to this is the signal warrant analysis expansion to 12-hour traffic counts. And that was $19,200. And that provides, again, the additional hours of traffic data for up to 12 additional locations for 8 hours of traffic data. Then the second part of this was the additional weekday traffic counts. So this will authorize up to 2 additional weekdays. So it's not just a one-day traffic count. This will go 2 additional weekdays at all 17 intersections. That's a lot of traffic counts there. So I'm very happy that we're able to include that in there as well too. And again, I'll mention it, not everybody agreed on all of these things, but I thought there was enough consensus to move this forward as it was. The Saturday traffic count. Again, my conversation with Mr. Shamir, this was kind of a split one, but my conversation with him, and he lives in that area and he hears directly on a daily basis from these folks in that area, and that played a big part into kind of moving that into the considering this with the additional ones too. So the Saturday traffic count is going to be included as well too. Bicycle pedestrian counts at Lear Road, Hanford Boulevard, and Teasel Court. It's a relatively low dollar amount. And when you do this, as well as the one that's going to be coming up here in a moment, the safety analysis, which again also talks about some of the multimodal. When you include this in there, even if the data is minimal, we're doing the study. So as we move forward past this study and we look to apply for grants in the future and things like that, and safety improvements, one of the first things that we're going to be asked is, has a study been performed? This checks that box. So we're going to be able to do that. So that is included as well too. The cul-de-sac traffic counts analysis up to 3 locations. Again, those are the up to 3 intersections, 8 hours of turning movement counts will be collected on a single day, 4 hours in the AM, 4 hours in the PM. And those locations, Hampton Boulevard, Liberty Rose. And I think that was one of them that I think everybody was in favor for. Or Hanford Boulevard and Yeager Court, Hanford Boulevard and Brush Drive and Schiller Court, and Liberty Rose and Monticello Drive. That was one that I think that got unanimous support from everybody. The safety analysis, again, that's the multimodal stuff with the crash data and things of that sort. So even if what it yields is not that much data, it's going to be important going forward if we want to make any other improvements there. And again, we left number 7 off. So this is a very comprehensive study. I've been a part of a number of traffic studies over the years. This is by far the biggest one, and quite frankly, the most expensive one that I've seen. But we've heard from residents on this. We recognize that in the past that studies weren't done when some of these subdivisions were going in. So we're making up for lost ground in some cases to do that. But this is being put together. This is no small feat. This isn't something that you just do just to pacify somebody. This is a real comprehensive study, and we're going to get real data back. And again, I'm on the record saying that we are going to have an interpretive meeting, and we're going to discuss this, and we're going to make a decision, at least I'm going to make a decision, based on the data of what comes out of this and how it's interpreted. So I would look forward to hearing the comments from my colleagues, but I do appreciate everybody's patience with this. I do appreciate everybody's input on this as well, too. The residents that show up have provided a tremendous amount of input. Members of council and the public at large have provided a lot of input. So I'm eager to get this thing started. The sooner the better, and I look forward to seeing what comes back. So, Madam President, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Mr. Cos, could you turn your page to the next page? And there you will have the Smart Services contract proposal. Do you want to go through that?
Yeah, Madam President.
Page 3 is the fee.
Yeah, I will, if it's all right, I would like to ask the mayor to comment on that, if he's all right with that.
Very good.
So the contract Smart Services is actually the agreement that Smart Services has with Trans Systems. Smart Services will be the one actually doing the video counts. So they're going to be the data collection, and then it'll be provided to Trans Systems to do their interpretation from that data.
Thank you. So it has been included in our packet. Very good. Now we're going to open it up to questions with my colleagues' comments on this particular one. Mr. Shamir, this is in your ward. Yes, go ahead, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Koss for all the work that is done and reaching out, trying to get us consensus and an understanding of what Ward 1 residents were looking at. So that said, I want to go back to the Smart Service and just to make a brief comment. Typically, there are components of any study that is subcontracted out. So to subcontract a component is not really something that would be problematic. Now, going back to the actual study, I believe that when you go through and add the additional days at the junctions, as well as looking at Saturday, counts, what it does, it allows you to normalize anomalies. And being able to normalize anomalies would reduce error in simulation. So that is a component, I think, that is very critical to getting a close enough data. Now, the question comes on how do you then do the simulation? The simulation is based on looking at full build-out. It's not based on the current condition. It's based on full build-out. Now, there are assumptions that are taken into effect before you do any simulation. So you make your simplifying assumptions. You make assumptions that will simplify the process. So that second meeting that Mr. Koss mentioned is to have that discussion. What are the simplifying assumptions? What is it that's going to be utilized, and how is it that they drive at that point? That's where the dialogue should take place, and an understanding of what it is that is going to be put into those models and what the prediction criteria is going to be. Questions on what number, I don't think the city can really give you a number at this point in time. But I think that is where everyone should be actively involved and ask the questions. This is the best planning tool that is out there. And in order to understand how flows will move, this is probably the best way. You can't do it any other way unless you wait and do something based on what happens in the future. So that's all I've got. Thank you, Mr. Costin. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment? I think one thing that needs to be clarified, if I could, Mr. Cos, you said it, but I'm going to say it just a little different way, is that if somebody comes out of the west winds and they're heading to the west, and right now we're not counting that west winds data point, but when they cross by one of the other intersections, they will be counted. And let's say they go after the first one, the second one, and then they turn in, and they're heading south, as the residents have been describing, to try to cut through to Lear Road. When they come out onto Lear Road, they're going to be counted again. So that's the way that they're going to be tracking them through this particular area. And so when Mr. Cos says that all 17 data points they will be tracked at, that's true if they continue traveling throughout Avon Lake. Any further questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say that Mr. Shamir had that same really good question. And when he reached out, sent the email with that question, the Aaron Grillot from Trans Systems replied back. And we had a good discussion about that. And I know that Mr. Shamir had the email, so he could have followed up. So I thought it was a real good dialogue that went on that explained that similar type of thing. Where
I appreciate you
cars will
exploring
count.
it. Thank you. And I appreciate Mr. Shamir for asking the question also. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank everyone who's been involved in this, from the citizens, from those who live in the area. And like I ask jurors to do all the time in my cases is to have an open mind and listen to what the facts are and what the final analysis is and make a determination after all the facts are presented to me. And that's what I'm planning on doing to this. And I'm trying to keep my mind as open to seeing what comes out of everything and hearing what everybody has to say. Thank you.
Well put. Anybody else? Yes, sir, Mr. Shamir.
Just wanted to follow up to what you said earlier and what Mr. Cost just said. That flow out of the west winds flowing towards the Walker-Lear intersection or cutting through south is covered. And when I went back and with the explanation and the count strategy, it really covers those points. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else up here? Okay, I think it's time we're going to be moving on then. And at this point in time, we need to have a motion, Mr. Cos. Make a motion to.
Yes, it's just
moved reading passage.
What? What?
vote time to vote.
Oh, right, it says time to vote. Right. Oh, I thought they had to make a motion to passage. Okay, he already did it.
Yes.
Okay, it's been a long night already. Okay, Mrs. Rossman, let's vote. Let's have the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed, and thank you, everyone. It's been a very long time getting here, and I want to thank the administration. I know that many different departments were involved in this, and also our consultants, along with our council people involved here. I want to thank the residents, as has been said, to bringing this forward to us and giving us your perspective on it. Thank you. Okay, the next one is ordinance number 25-79. Mrs. Rossman, read by title only, 25-79.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a snowplow and ice package for the Public Works Department and declaring an emergency.
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings. Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Thank you. It's passed. I move for passage of temporary ordinance number 25-79. In discussion. This is the purchase of snowplow ice package equipment through a cooperative purchasing agreement that is called National Purchasing Partners, or NPP Gov. And the city is taking advantage of this particular way to purchase in order to lower the costs. NPP Gov has already gone out for competitive bidding, and we have joined them now as a partner. And the product that we're looking at will be coming out of Henderson Products at the amount of $126,588. Are there any questions? Further comment on this particular one? Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. And I need to get to the back of that particular file. Okay, Mrs. Rossmarin, please read by title only, ordinance number 25-80.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 25-70, authorizing the purchase of an International 607 chassis cab for the Public Works Department and declaring an emergency.
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings. Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh? Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, it is passed. I move for passage of temporary ordinance number 25-80. And in discussion, this is through a state bid. And we did have previously ordinance number 2570, and it's going to be amended because of the tariffs. There was an international tariff fee that was added after we had voted on this at the last council meeting in the amount of $109,080. And with the $3,900 tariff added to it, it comes to the amount of $112,980. This ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure, the emergency being the necessity of correcting the bid amount of said vehicle for the Public Works Department. Thus, it's for the preservation of the public's health, safety, and welfare. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, this is passed. Ordinance number 25-81. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of an International 607 chassis cab for the Public Works Department and declaring an emergency.
I move for suspension of council's rule requiring 3 readings. Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, it is passed. I move for passage of temporary ordinance number 25-81. And in discussion, this is a state bid. And the state bid is through ODOT, and the purchase will be made through Rush Truck Centers of Cincinnati, Ohio, for the purchase of this International 607 chassis cab in the amount of $112,980. And, let's see what else. This ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency. The emergency being the necessity of taking advantage of the current state pricing and providing the Public Works Department with safe and reliable equipment in order that they may promptly and efficiently perform their duties, thus ensuring the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Avon Lake. Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, it has passed. Resolution number 25-82. Mrs. Rossmarin,
A
read by
resolution.
title only.
A resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contract to be awarded in 2025 and declaring an emergency.
And I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings. Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you, it has passed. I move for resolution number 25-82. In discussion, this is a state bid, and the Department of Transportation's annual road salt bid is in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5513.01B, and there's certain things that the political subdivision, which is the city of Avon Lake, must follow. First, we have to agree to all the terms. Secondly, the director, upon signing this, must then comply and they have to respond. Any claims that come out of disputes through the participation with ODOT, we basically sign off on it. The public subdivision's electronic order for sodium chloride road salt will be in the amount of the political subdivision agrees to purchase from its awarded salt supplier. at the delivered bid price per ton awarded by the Director of ODOT. Next, the political subdivision, Avon Lake, agrees to purchase a minimum of 85% of its electronically submitted salt quantities. And we need to place the order, and we have to, once we are invoiced, it is a payment, net 30. This needs to be going through so that we can meet the needs by the end of the month. Any further discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank Mr. Liskovic for staying on top of this, because the salt, you know, we had a couple very easy winters recently, but I know we have to stay on top of this, so I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Right. And I also want to thank Mr. Liskovic, because not only is he looking at what we have right now in reserves and how we're storing it, but he's going to be, and he has been talking about how he forecasts how he's going to be buying it, when he's going to be buying it, and he's buying it at a cost before the price goes up, which is a great thing that he's doing. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Rossmarin.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Thank you, this is passed. Okay, we're down to ordinance number 25-83. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance to rezone an 11.8627 acre site at the southeast corner of Walker Road and Avon Belden Road from single-family residence on R1-A, R-1A, and general commerce, a B-2, to multifamily residence, R-3, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. This is the first reading of ordinance number 25-83. We discussed this at the collective committee meeting. As I indicated at that meeting, I don't know that I'm going to be able to support this, so at some point, a new sponsor is going to have to come onto this. But we do have a public hearing will be scheduled on this for April 28th. And like everything, I will try to keep my mind open till I hear everything relative to the matter. But if someone would be willing to sponsor it, I don't know how you go about doing that, whether someone would say something now or just contact the clerk and let them know.
Right.
But there will be a public hearing on April 28th. Thank you.
So to answer your comment, so a council person at the time of the vote can still sponsor it as long as they don't speak against it, if they're going to be voting no. If they're going to be voting yes, it doesn't make any difference. But you could still sponsor it. You could talk about it on either side, for or against, up until that third reading. Then at that third reading, which this is not, at that third reading, the sponsor cannot speak negatively about it if they're going to be voting no. Are there other questions, Mr. Smith? Excuse me, I can't see his face.
No, I don't have any other.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Cos?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. So, probably like a number of my colleagues, got a lot of feedback on this, and I've had a tremendous amount, more than the usual, that I would get on an issue. And none of it's been positive. I'll say that, none of it's been positive. I went over this a number of times in my head, and I don't see a scenario that I would be able to support this. And I know that this is the first reading, and I know that we have the public hearing next week. But I thought it was in the issue of fairness just for me to just come out and just state my intentions at this time. This has nothing to do with Pulte, their business or the work that they've done here in the city. They've done a fine job, and they've been a good partner working with a number of their developments here in the city. And this is no reflection on them. What this is for me is a rezoning of R1 and General Commerce B2 in our busiest intersection in the city. If folks have watched these meetings, they've heard me talk I've sponsored a number of pieces of legislation just in the last few months, whether it was the 25 mile per hour and establishing a business district, which would go through this area partially, or the cameras as well too. And on each of those pieces of legislation, I cited the amount of traffic in that area. It's a tremendous amount of traffic. And I'll tell you, the jump to the R3, even with the self-imposed limitations on the numbers, which I do appreciate that, but even to go from an R1 in a business to an R3 is just too much for me to support, and I think it's too much for a lot of the people in the community as well too. I mean, I just look at it, and for me to establish a business district in this area and then remove a business zoning to a multifamily R3 is contradictory. And I don't know how I would explain that to somebody. And if I can't explain it to somebody, then it doesn't make sense to me. So I apologize for not letting this go through some more of the process, but I felt that I just needed to come out and say this at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mrs. Gentry had her hand up and down a little bit.
I didn't at the time, but I did have comment. So I have received similar phone calls and have seen similar comments on Facebook that the traffic in that area, people are concerned about the traffic just from Sandridge alone and what additional traffic they'll see there. So I also am concerned about, we just did the speed limit change for the business district, and then we would just change it to a residential. I also would have a hard time explaining that. So basically what Mr. Koss said.
Thank you. Mr. Shamir, I saw your hand up. Sir?
Well, I have to second what Mr. Koss, Ms. Gentry said, and effectively looking at the potential volume of traffic into that 25 mile an hour zone is just hard for me to fathom. And again, I couldn't explain it either. So I can't, in good conscience, support this either. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to turn to my left. I have two councilmen to my left. Any comments from them? Mr. Arnold?
I'm going to wait to comment until next week, or
Thank
2
you.
weeks from today.
Thank you. Mr. Zuber, anything tonight? No. I can't see him. Okay. No? Okay. Okay. And I have a question for Mr. Mayor. The last time that we were together, it was at the CCM, and Mr. Smith presented it. And my understanding was that the traffic study that the developer paid for was going to be analyzed by a third party, and it was given to the city engineer to send to a third party. Has that been completed yet, or is that still in process?
It has not been completed. We received an update from Pulte relative to adding Sandridge into the traffic study. That was completed by their vendor. And then we received the updated one. Trans Systems is going to be doing the review, and they have not completed that yet.
Okay. Will they have it ready, sir, by the 28th, which is the public hearing?
I can certainly suggest they do that.
Because I think that that's something that my fellow colleagues would be interested in. I'm seeing their heads shake to the right. Okay. All right, traffic study, okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Shamir.
I would like to clarify, the only thing that could potentially sway me the other way is a detailed traffic study that is clear on the results.
So this would be by the same company that we're looking at in your ward, Trans Systems.
I understand, but also would like to see the chain of who's contracting who and who is going to be representing who in this process. So I would like to see that chain and who's contracting them to do this work. Thank you.
I just want some clarification. Mr. Mayor, if I heard it correctly, what I heard was that Trans System is not going to be doing another traffic study. They're going to be reviewing the one that the developer created. So what we have, and they're simply going to be reviewing it. Is that correct? Is my understanding correct?
That's correct. And not being an engineer, I don't know the subtle differences, the nuances between the two, but they're going to look at the data, make sure the data is accurate. I will say a couple items on that. In that study, I found inaccuracies that they'll have to address. I also want to add that we're going to give them traffic counts from our speed monitors that we have up in that area to help bolster the numbers. So it'll be a little more comprehensive, but they're not doing a new study. This is a review of the current study.
Okay, very good. And now I have a question for our law director, just so that we all have all the information. So just remind council of the procedure and the processes. If the comprehensive land use plan has identified an area that is similar to an economic development plan, right? The comprehensive development plan, comprehensive land use plan has identified this area as having higher density. The developer shows higher density. The planning commission puts a cap on it and says, no, you can't go to 12. You have to keep it at 7. A B2 would be capped at 5. A B3 is capped at 12. But you're going to have to cap it at 7, so it'd be 2 more per acre than that. So if the comprehensive plan use plan matches what the builder does, what liabilities does the city have if planning commission has passed it based on that comprehensive plan use plan and the preliminary traffic study? What liability do we have if we vote no on it? None. There is no liability. Okay. Just so that everybody's clear on it. Yes, Mr. Shamir.
Just for clarification, I know that Pulte has done a traffic study. Has the potential of town center redevelopment and development been incorporated into that traffic study and the flows that may be had through that intersection?
Mr. Mayor?
I don't know that 100%, but my thought is looking at it that additional data, predictive modeling for that has not been included.
Thank you.
Would it be appropriate to ask the developer that question, since we don't have, we think we have the answer, we're not sure, since they're in the audience?
I'm not 100% sure. It's up to you.
I think that could be answered at the public hearing.
Okay, very good. I see them making notes, so I think they're taking notes down. Very good. Any other further comments? Mr. Smith, thank you for presenting this. Yes. Very good. No further comments. Okay, we're going to move on then. Okay. Mrs. Ross Marin, please read ordinance number 25-84 by title only.
An ordinance approving a vacation of a portion of Alameda Avenue and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2584, which is the vacation of a small portion of Alameda Avenue, which is adjacent to the Utilities Department building over on Miller Road, and they're going to be doing an expansion over there, and they're asking us to, it's an unused paper street, and they're asking us to take care of the vacation so they can make an expansion. I think it's being used more for setbacks than anything else. So, thank you. That's all I have on that.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith, what is your intention on this to go? How many readings?
3 readings.
3 readings. Okay, very good. Okay, no further questions. All right, now we're going to come to Mr. Law Director.
If I can, Mr. Smith, there is some discussion that they need it done by the second reading based on the work that's going to be done after the vacation. So you take some consideration of that and look at it before the next council.
Yeah, all right. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to come to the point in our meeting where the public's invited to come up on any topic. It doesn't have to be on the agenda, and you're given 5 minutes at this point. Somebody want to come forward? Yes, come on up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Patton Russell, Avon Lake. I just have a question about the tree ordinances. We love trees, I love trees, we all love trees. I thought before I came here that both of those ordinances involve foresting in the public lands. But something I heard tonight made me think, oh, maybe one's public and one's private. Can you clarify?
Right, if I could. Yes, both are in the public land. One is for the city and one is for the tree commission. So the strategies for the tree commission and the management plans for the city.
Okay, great, wonderful. Phew, okay. Then my only comment is on one of those strategic plans, it says the goal is to have the largest tree cover or something. And I just wonder if that is true. I'm not a forester, but maybe larger is not always the best trees to have. And maybe we should leave that planning to the goals to the professionals.
Okay, so what it is the largest tree per site. So if you have a narrow tree lawn, you're going to have a smaller tree. If you have a wider tree lawn, you can have a larger tree.
I see.
Yeah, and it's by the state spec. So we're going right with the urban forestry spec.
Thank you so much for clarifying. Thank you for all your hard work. I'm tired just listening to all the work you've all done. Thank you.
Thank you for coming forward. Anybody else on any topic? Don't be shy. Come on forward. Thank you. What's your name and your city you're from?
Jim Saylor, Wrights Engineering Company, representing Pulte Homes. About the rezoning issue on the agenda for first reading tonight. I appreciate the assurances that everyone will keep an open mind about this. And I just wanted to make a couple of quick points in relation to that. Most of the concerns I heard tonight from the public and the council dealt with the traffic situation, concerned about the additional traffic that rezoning to R3 will cause. And the point I would like to make is that if we don't rezone this land, if you do not agree to rezone it, it doesn't mean there's going to be less traffic. The land is currently zoned for business. You could put a Chick-fil-A there, a Dunkin'. It would create much more traffic than 73 residential units. So just the fact that we're going to add 73 units is not going to necessarily increase the traffic over what otherwise could have been there. There's no denying it's a very busy intersection, but the other thing to realize is because of the amount of traffic that goes through, the great volume of it, what the 73 units contributes is a very, very small percentage. The traffic study that was commissioned that the city required the developer to do showed a delay at Avon, Belden, and Walker Roads based on both the Sand Ridge and this proposed rezoning project, both being installed. I think the delay was only 0.2 seconds on average at that. So certainly the traffic study should be reviewed by your independent consultants, and we're looking forward to hopefully having that in time to be able to answer those concerns. Another thing to point out is the current zoning, because this is in the multi-use overlay district, actually would allow for 104 units to be constructed on this property. So again, what they're asking for is not a maximization of their profits or cramming as many units onto the property as possible. They are in fact asking for many fewer units than what the current zoning does allow. And I guess the last point to make is that there were a couple concerns about this being a reversal of the zoning that was enacted. And as Ms. Fenderbosch pointed out, this area was in the comprehensive land use plan. It was a focus area. That plan was approved by council and planning commission both, and it did specifically recommend increasing the density of residential units in this specific area so that you could hopefully drive a little bit more pedestrian traffic into the downtown area, support the existing businesses, create a more vibrant and walkable downtown, and that's what the developer would like to do. So as I said, I appreciate the fact that you're offering to keep an open mind, and we're looking forward to making a presentation at the public hearing and answering any questions that come up then. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come forward on any topic? Okay.
Gerald Phillips, concerned Avon Lake resident. I want to talk about what Mr. Shamir talked about last week with the second implosion. I want to talk about a public records request, which you got forwarded an email today. This request was December 31st. And Mr. Shamir indicated that there was an email that everybody got. I asked for that email. I haven't gotten it yet. And I don't got the video either. Also in that email, all council people were copied on it. So if you got an email involving the second implosion, or you sent one, it's covered by that public records request. All of you, including the fire chief, and it's been 3 months. I think I waited long enough to get this complied with. What I believe and what I heard last week was a cover-up. A cover-up that an email went to everybody on council about the video from Chatham, went to the mayor, and it never came open to the public. You're trying to cover up the fact that the implosion created harm to the residents, and you're trying to cover it up. Mr. Shamir wants full transparency. I want my public records request complied with. The other disturbing event that transpired is ALC TV. Mr. Zimmerman went there asking for videos, and there were videos that were available. He went back a little later. Those videos were destroyed. They were destroyed. And I bring your attention to 149.351, destroying public records. I believe those public records were destroyed. And I will be at the Records Commission meeting this week. I have a copy of the record retention, and you better not be destroying records. Let's go to the next item about public records. You're all aware of the Brownfield lawsuit. There's 2 lawsuits. There's a preservation notice that was served on Mr. Ebert, and you all got it. This means that you can't destroy any records involving the Brownfield. And it doesn't include your business email. It includes your personal email that involves the Brownfield ALERG-CIC. And it also involves Mr. Ebert, all those so-called Brownfield people who you claim aren't public officials. They better be retaining their emails, and those records are better be retained. Because if not, the law director should have informed you about what they call spoilization of evidence. That's where somebody who spoils evidence gets sued. And that means if anybody has destroyed evidence, you will be sued and the city will be sued. So I hope he advised you. I hope he advised you. My understanding is he may not have done it. May not have done it. Let's talk about the ordinance that you passed on the traffic impact analysis. What's really disturbing is another situation where you guys just don't follow the law. You violate the law. Okay? You violate the law. Last collective committee meeting, there was a suggestion, send us emails, send us your comments, send us information about what you want in, what you don't want in. Well, you made that determination. Mr. Koss did a very elaborate discussion on how outside public meetings you came to a consensus of what to put in that ordinance. You took all the items except one a la carte and you left it out. That wasn't discussed in a public meeting, because last meeting you talked about somebody said this should be in, maybe that. You didn't make a determination. You made a determination behind closed doors. Read section 2 of that ordinance. It says all deliberations were in public meetings open to the public. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. Mr. Ebert, read about the White decision, White versus King, where emails, backdoors, communications violated the Sunshine Law, Mr. Ebert. You violated the Sunshine Law in doing that. It's not the first time. You violate our freedom of speech, you violate the Sunshine Law.
Anybody else want to come forward on any topic?
Before I begin, I'd like to show a video.
No.
So again, I'm not being allowed to show the video as part of my 5 minutes.
Correct.
Violation of my civil rights.
No, it isn't.
It will be. You guys will learn in court. Anyhow, William Zimmerman, I owe you an apology. Mr. Shamir was right. She did do a presentation at the last CCM. Mr. Koss, he got great notes. He said so. I had left for an emergency with my family. I wasn't present. I didn't know that she made the presentation. I didn't know that she was even here, because I left very early in the meeting to return when Valerie let me in at somewhere around 9:20 or someplace late where I was able to still speak. So I apologize, because the last time I saw her presentation was at the committee meeting, not the CCM. So I didn't get to see it the second time. Mr. Phillips brings up some great points about the fact that you guys don't follow your own law. The rule of law doesn't matter to you guys. Do whatever you want. Just like the video that I want to show, so the citizens of Avon Lake can be aware of the fallout that came out on December 19th, the day of the second implosion. So you all can see it floating through the air in these people's backyard on their ring cam. They emailed everybody on council and the mayor. They didn't hear back from anybody. It's my understanding. I don't know that for sure, but that's my understanding. The point of that is they started covering it up. They don't want us to show the video to you because they don't want you to see the stuff floating through the air as it's coming down. Because the wind direction was out of the northwest to north. Should have never have happened. Mr. Shamir tried to get everybody to delay it for 36 hours, 24 hours. Who knows? A short period of time when the wind direction changed. But that didn't matter. Our mayor thought it was more important to move forward because he was afraid of a lawsuit from ALERG, he stated. So they moved forward. And the fallout came over the city. Now, has that fallout been collected and tested? I don't know. I hear rumors of fiberglass and some other things in it, but I don't know that for certain, so I can't make that true statement. The point is, though, for over 3.5 months, they've known. They're trying to squash it. They don't want people to know. This is a reason why we use this moment as a way to remove the mayor, because he failed in his duties to protect the health, safety, and welfare of us, the citizens. He didn't care about anything but getting that move forward. Otherwise, he would have delayed for a day or two. Didn't think it was worth it. This is a bad situation. But that shows that the mayor didn't do his job. As I stated, he didn't care about the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. It's very important that you all understand that. This is part of the checks and balances we believe doesn't get done here in the city unless Mr. Phillips and I do it. And the point is, we found several things over the time. Just like he pointed out again about not doing the proper movement on this information. They're sending emails. It's not in an open meeting. Just another opportunity to show how the Sunshine Law gets violated here in the city of Avon Lake. It's a regular occurrence. There's 2 or 3 more things I wanted to talk about, but unfortunately I'm out of time. Concerned citizens will be back on the air shortly. We'll have plenty to talk, and we'll show you the video over and over, if you like. Have a great night.
Anybody else want to come forward and talk on any topic? Welcome to come forward. Don't be shy. Mr. Shamir, you did show that video to all of council, and was that at a CCM or was that at a economic development meeting?
be honest, I am not sure. I think I've shown it at a couple of different meetings, and as well as the Ward 1 meeting and at EAAB. So I know that I have shown that video on 4 different occasions.
And I know that one of the meetings I was at, Verdantis, which is the environmental representative for us, for the city, along with the environmental representative for ALERG, both commented on it, that they were looking at it. Is that correct? Do you want to give us an update?
Actually, yes. Verdantis was unaware
Until you
of.
talked?
I actually went to Columbus 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, and I met with Verdantis. When I went through that video, they said that they had never seen that video. So that video was never forwarded to them, and their comment to me was, if we had seen it, we would have gone and had a discussion and collected samples. This was the discussion I had with Verdantis in Columbus two Fridays ago.
Because my comment to the ALERG gentleman was the chunk, I call it the chunk that came down the particulate, and we were discussing it. So we have not been hiding this. Go ahead, Mr. Zuber.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Mr. Shamir did show that video at a council meeting, and it was on TV.
Yeah.
So that video has been shown by Mr. Shamir at a council meeting on TV. That's the only comment that I was going to make.
Thank you, Mr. Zuber. Okay, at this point in time, we have miscellaneous business and announcements. Mr. Shamir.
I have miscellaneous business, and this is effectively a follow-on to the discussion we had about Burns and Ochner and passing of the contract. I just need for everyone to understand, when there is a issue that council or council administration we don't agree upon, it doesn't mean that we hate each other. It doesn't mean that we won't cooperate. Fundamentally, what I need for everyone to understand, because I had this conversation, again, my favorite place to have conversations is Giant Eagle. People come up to me and say, why is it, and how is it, and why do you, so I need clarity for everyone, because I had to go and reflect. I do what I do here because I see the need. I came up and stepped up to do this job based on my conviction. So when I ask question, it's because I haven't seen clarity. Will I stop? No. It doesn't mean that I turn around and to my left and right and I dislike my colleagues. It doesn't mean that there's animosities. We are not put here to agree, but fundamentally, if I am given something that lacks clarity, I will vote no. That is a fundamental thing. And I would like to go back to the Burns and Ochner issue. On the 17th, it came up for approval. I voted no on both sides of it. The comment that was made to me is that it came up on the 17th to the city. But no, it was given to the city, the first draft, on the 5th. We canceled an economic development committee meeting, which was supposed to take place. I almost had to beg to get it on, and then it was canceled. That would have been a venue to discuss. With that context, I want to turn around and thank Mr. Koss. And this is dialogue. Mr. Koss reached out, whatever we want to say, and he tried to understand my concerns as the Ward 1 council person with respect to the traffic impact assessment. So we had discussions. I went back out and drove through the sector of Ward 1 that this study would impact, and then reflected, and I went back to Mr. Koss. So when Mr. Koss takes that initiative, I mean, that is what dialogue is. You know, Mr. Zuber and I probably sit quite at opposite ends on many different things. But I can always tell you one thing. Mr. Zuber, from day one, has reached out trying to understand what it is that I'm saying. I thank him. We may not agree. We may not agree on anything, or we may agree on only a few things. But that is what our job is to have dialogue. Dialogue. I don't agree with Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Phillips on a lot of things, yet I have dialogue. It's okay to talk. And what I want to say is I walk out of here every Monday night with a reflection that I have done my job, I have asked a question, I have voted my conscience, and I have stood by my conviction. So will I vote yes on something that I totally disagree or is unclear? No. I can assure you the one thing, I will vote no until I am clear. And I will not follow process and procedure based on the comment that it was done in the past. Because a lot of things were done in the past. Diabetes, my son is a diabetic. They would have to get shots. Today, there is a pump that delivers that tied into a CGM. Technology changes, people change, processes change. So I will ask questions. There is no animosity, and that's just the fundamental of who we are. So please don't take comments that are said here and the dialogue that is had and take it into a forum and think that is dislike for one another. There is no dislike. We are here to have a conversation, and we are here to represent you, the residents, and we will do that job. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Shamir and I, we had our meeting last week, didn't we?
Yes.
At Emily's over a little coffee. All right. Mr. Cos, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I have an announcement along the same lines of what Mr. Shamir is saying as far as discussions and dialogue on some of this stuff, because I want to clear up something that was said during the public input part, which I think sort of accused me of a crime or something similar. But when we talk about the ordinance that was passed tonight with the traffic impact study, I said at that meeting last week, I will reach out to all of you. Reach out to me. Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions. What would you like to see in this last one? And based on my conversations with Mr. Shamir, Ms. Gentry, everybody on here, I reached out to. I said, let me know what you guys think. And you did. You let me know what you think. And I took that information that you guys shared with me, and that's where I brought this forward. Nobody knew what I was bringing forward until the agenda was published. It was based on the consensus of what the feel that I thought from the council was going to be, based on my one-on-one reaching out to each one of you to get your thoughts and opinions. And that happens all the time in government. You talk to somebody, you get the feel from your colleagues, and you bring forth a piece of legislation. Whether it's, you're talking on the phone late at night, or you're after a meeting and they say, you know what, I'd really like to see, I really disagree with this part. That sticks in my head, and I bring forward the legislation, and we have the ability to vote yes or no based on that. But that's how that happened, so the public knows. I asked it. I said I would reach out and talk to you guys and give me your thoughts, and I took those thoughts and I put them into the document that was approved tonight. So, wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else on any other topic? Mr. Law Director, do you want to speak to the process that Mr. Cos just spoke about?
There's nothing wrong or illegal with that. It's done all the time.
Thank you. At this point, then, Mr. Cos, we have a need for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 9:14 p.m.